Flying without incident, our plane suddenly runs into problems. Amazingly, it's at almost exactly the same time as Taylor announced his instruments were malfunctioning, around 3:50 p.m. The turn and slip instrument in our Avenger starts to perform erratically, making it harder for our pilot to perform smooth and efficient turns.
Let's turn and fly east 2 degrees. We're going too damn far north instead of east. If there is anything, we wouldn't see it.
It was now 3 hours since they'd taken off. They had enough fuel for at least another 3 hours. The crewmen started to argue, and another Flight 19 pilot, Captain Edward Powers, tried to take control and turn them to the west.
Damn it! If we had just head west, we would get home!
In our recreation of the flight, the next hour passes smoothly, and Great Harbor Cay is safely in sight below. We make a left turn and head north for Grand Bahama, the most northerly point of our flight, and another hour's flying time away. This is where Flight 19 should have turned west and headed home. But by now, Flight 19 could have been disorientated, with their fuel dangerously low and darkness fast approaching.
You didn't get far enough east. How long have we been going east? We're now heading 270 west!
Now, incredibly, another problem affects our recreation of Flight 19. Our chase plane pilot, flying alongside us to take film of the Avenger, announces his aircraft's turn and slip indicator is also malfunctioning. Exactly the same instrument which became erratic on our plane. It has completely frozen.
Something really strange is going on here, guys.
What exactly is happening? And more importantly, why? We are now almost 2 hours into our recreated Flight 19, and both of our planes have suffered instrument failures. It's just possible that the instruments were already faulty prior to takeoff. But whatever the explanation, we all have an eerie feeling as we make our final turn west and head for Fort Lauderdale, the leg of the journey that could have saved the lives of Flight 19. Flight 19 never made that final turn west. The 5 planes were doomed to fly further and further to the east, with rapidly emptying gas tanks, over empty ocean, and in growing darkness.
We will head 270 until we hit the beach or run out of gas. When the first man gets down to 10 gallons of gas, we will all land in the water together. Does everyone understand that?
And that was the last that we heard on the radio. They asked him how much gas he had left. He said about a half hour, 20 minutes. We waited till that half hour went by, and there was no more activity on the radio. We knew they were down someplace, but we didn't know where. So they sent out all the boats and all the planes that they had available to go look for them.
Navy rules dictate that all the planes should ditch together in such a crisis. Nobody knows what actually happened to the planes of Flight 19, and why not a single crewman, life jacket, or piece of wreckage from the 5-6-ton planes was ever found.
I could almost feel the presence of those 14 brave men who perished 60 years ago, and it's a very sobering feeling.
The disappearance of Flight 19 and the media frenzy that ensued solidified the legend of the Bermuda Triangle and still remains its best-known mystery. But these 5 planes of 1945 were by no means the last to go missing. On December the 27th, 1948, a DC-3 took off from San Juan in Puerto Rico, bound for Miami. It disappeared without trace. On August the 28th, 1963, 2 huge KC-135 aerial refueling military planes crashed on a return flight to Homestead Air Base near Miami. Flying 150 meters apart, they simultaneously fell out of the sky from an altitude of around 10,900 meters. These two planes did not disappear. Wreckage was found, but no one could explain the cause of the catastrophe. Had the two planes collided, or was it a simple case of pilot error? We may never know the exact truth, and this flight too has passed into the annals of Bermuda Triangle legend. Leaving no stone unturned in our quest to unravel what lies behind the myth of the Bermuda Triangle, we look at the likelihood of mechanical or pilot failures. Could human error and spatial disorientation be the reason why some planes disappear? Pilots flying over the ocean can easily lose their sense of position and even confuse which way is up, down, left or right. Humans are not designed to travel at high speed above the ground. Even on a clear day, it's possible to become disorientated and confuse sea for sky, especially when light is reflecting off the ocean surface, which is common in this part of the world. In mist and fog, the problem can become even worse. And if it's no longer clear which way is up and which down, it could be very easy to fly straight into the ocean. One person who understands the dangers of pilot disorientation is Florida flying instructor Carol Collins. She thinks there could be a very simple explanation for the legend of the Bermuda Triangle.
On a day when it's more hazy, you're going to have a much less distinct horizon. If we look out this way, we do still have a line of the horizon, but you can see that it's not quite as clear as it was on the other side. I'm going to put the plane in a bit of a bank. And right now we're entering slowly into a climbing turn. And if you notice, you're not really feeling anything. I can very gradually get this airplane into a descent. And if I don't do a very rapid descent where your ears are starting to pop on you, you're never even going to know that you're in that descent.
Collins isn't a believer. In her opinion, many of the aircraft accidents in the Bermuda Triangle can be attributed to stress, overtiredness, and disorientation. But what about the disappearances of ships? Could human error also be at work here? Weather scientist Chris Lancy agrees that there is an explanation for most incidents.
Not as a scientist, but as a resident, I would have to ascribe a lot of the problems ascribed to the Bermuda Triangle as just human error. There's a lot of people that do stupid things, and they get caught in a stupid area, and then they want to blame it on somebody else. So knowing human nature, knowing how many idiots live in the area, some of that's just going to be bad judgment.
One organization has unique first-hand knowledge of ships and boats getting into trouble in the Bermuda Triangle, the U.S. Coast Guard. They're involved in rescues all around the United States. Chief Petty Officer John Guthrie is a crew member of a Miami Station Coast Guard helicopter and a proud member of the busiest sea rescue service in the world. He knows exactly how easy it is to become disorientated.
Sometimes you get a haze, and if it's a real calm day, you'll get the water looking like the sky and the sky looking like the water.
According to the U.S. Coast Guard, in a review of aircraft and vessel losses in the area over the last 60 years, there has been nothing to suggest that